let's get back a little more in history. So how did you start with Power BI? Do you remember that?
Yeah, the organisation I was working for had a BI product, a web-based BI product, and we needed to replace it. And the timing was just absolutely perfect. So Power BI, I think, had been released only about 3 months earlier, and we wanted to consider what was the new tool we were going to take on board. Okay. So we did a workshop, and we spent 3 months testing out Tableau, Power BI, and 2 other ones, for a whole bunch of different features. We did internal work to decide what was important to the various parts of the business, and then we effectively scored these tools. Now, Power BI did not win on a lot of fronts. There were a lot of gaps at this stage, but it seemed to be, it was good enough for us to decide we'll go for it. It was a bit risky because there were a lot of gaps in its functionality, but by doing that, we were a reasonably good sized business for New Zealand. We had about 600 people staff. Oh. So for New Zealand, not a small business, and we got a lot of licenses. So Microsoft were keen to they were very interested in us because we were an early adopter. So we sort of got to work 2 ways. I learned a lot. We fed back to Microsoft. These are the really important things to us that are missing. So I probably talked to, what would have been an equivalent CAT team member at the time, and I guess that helped them decide what was important. I mean, they weren't designing the product for us.
Adopter.
Yeah, and actually, a funny story is because of that, I really needed to know what features were coming, because I had made a commitment to my bosses that things like such and such were not there now, but they're coming soon. Yeah. So I was hacking into Power BI. I was going into the back end.
Promises.
I was going into the back end and I was turning on switches and I was like, I can see this.
Okay.
And I was tweeting out screenshots of these features before they'd been released. And one day the phone rang and I answered it and it was this American voice. And I'm like, I don't know that many American people. I'm not expecting anyone. We had a bit of a conversation and this person was from Microsoft. And at the end he was like, and by the way, how are you doing that such and such? So I explained to him. I said, I'm just going and I'm hacking it and I'm turning on these switches. It's like, now I understand. And it wasn't long after that I was invited into the MVP program,
super.
Which is great. But of course, one of the things about the MVP program is you sign an NDA agreement. Disclosure.
You cannot share what you see, right?
But that was fine for me because I got access to the information, the roadmap information I needed for my organisation. And being involved in the MVP program opened other doors. And so it pays to hack.
That's good stuff. That was good stuff. So let's jump to the future. Actually,
sorry.
Is there any particular already announced, not under NDA, feature of Power BI that you're looking forward to be available?
No, but what I will draw your attention to is there is a really good document online called the Business Application Group Roadmap.
We track it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That gets updated, I believe, once a fortnight.
Yeah.
So there might even be a feature that I'm not aware of that the team working on it might be releasing in about a month's time. They will put it in there straight away. Yeah. So whenever we get asked by customers or even internally, the Power BI CAT team help Microsoft field sellers and they ask us internal questions and we typically direct them to that document. So it's a really good document for you to keep your eye on and look at. And but in terms of an individual feature,
lots of it is already there, right?
Yeah. I mean, some of my main favourite features have already come out recently, like the incremental refresh, the aggregation, because I'm all about I like the data model, getting the data modelling engine running as quickly as possible. So it'll be nice to see the incremental refresh get moved to non-premium, so in sheer capacity.
Definitely.
I think that'll benefit both customers as well as Microsoft data centres. So
okay. Yeah. Last question.
Sure.
Yeah, we got to that. Do you have any your own Power BI community hero or heroes? You may mention a couple of them. Maybe it's not in community, but Microsoft.
No, I think the guys that spend a lot of time on the forums in the community. So Greg Deckler, who's number one by far. Seth Bauer, those guys that are in the top 10.
Yes.
Imke. who just seems to know everything.
And a woman.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's just incredibly, you know, her knowledge about him is
BA
just
accountant.
incredible.
Yes. We used her code for the financial loss and profit, right?
Yeah. So it's those guys I look up to a lot,
Yeah.
but also the legends of the game. You know, the people that I was following 15 years ago that are still around, the Marco Russos, the Albertos, the Chris Webbs. They've helped so many people, you know, just in general in BI. You know, so and it's actually it's nice for me to be able to know these people, you know, face to face, and
Cool.
And I'm looking forward to you know, presenting here tonight.
Yeah,
and,
definitely. We are looking to.
And meeting all the local Power BI people. Hopefully I'll hear some interesting stories. And,
Okay.
yeah.
So, is there anything you want to say to our viewers on Power BI, on how to get their hands dirty with all the dark stuff, the Power BI and Microsoft stack?
Probably just look, if you're looking for the best place to learn, I would highly recommend going to community.powerbi.com, get involved in the forums, post there if you've got a question yourself, but equally try and answer some forums, and answer some questions, because in doing that you'll probably get yourself up the learning curve much faster than you think. And it's a great central place to just help a lot of people.
It's good to know that you're still a community guy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you for having you. It was good. It was good conversation.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it very much. So, feel Seamark, and by the way, let's make a kind of advertisement. I guess today your book from by A-Press is $9.99 ebook.
That's the ebook version.
That's the ebook version.
There is a hard copy, and I have completed the follow-up book to that too. So in a few months' time, there will be a more advanced version of DAX, which I've written with an MVP from Germany.
So if you're beginning with DAX by Phil Seamark is for you, and please expect the next book from Phil. Thank you for having me.
No worries, thank you.
And enjoy your session. See you.